Hello, it's Yellow, and today I have something different. Enough time has passed since this happened, so I think it's okay to tell the story. I don't live where I used to live, and I think I'm safe now, and you'll hear why in a second. So I didn't even notice this girl, which we're gonna call Linda, and she was just kind of there, same hallway, same classes, always sitting in a row behind me like some background NPC. Then one day she just started talking to me like we'd known each other for like forever. At first it was chill, like actually perfect. She laughed at my dumb jokes, called me out in a funny way, and somehow knew exactly what to say to make me feel like I was the most interesting guy alive. That should have been my first red flag, but nobody normal does that fast. But I didn't care. I was 16, I was bored, and she was intense in a way that felt kind of addictive. We started texting, then snapping, then calling, and I mean calling like all the time. At first, it was like cute, falling asleep on the phone, whispering dumb shit at 2 a.m., all that movie type stuff. Then it got weird. She'd get pissed if I didn't reply in like 5 minutes. I'm not even joking. I once left my phone downstairs while I was showered, came back, and there were like 27 messages like, hello, you ignoring me now? Wow, okay, guess I don't even matter. Answer me, answer me. And at first I laughed it off, thought it was some just clingy girlfriend energy, which I found cute at the time. It wasn't. One time at lunch, I was talking to this girl from my math class. Nothing flirty, just homework stuff. Linda walked up out of nowhere, didn't say a word, just stood there staring. Like full on staring. Not blinking, not smiling, just staring. The other girl got uncomfortable, logically, and she left. Linda didn't even look at her. She just looked at me and went, super calm, by the way. You like her? And I said no, obviously, because I didn't, but also because the way she said it made my stomach drop. And then this bitch had the audacity to smile, but not like normally. It wasn't the kind of that doesn't reach the eyes. She said good, because that wouldn't end well. And I should have dipped right there, like immediately. But nah, I stayed because she'd switch back to being sweet right after. Like nothing happened. It messes with your head, guys. And that's the thing about Linda, she wasn't crazy all the time, just enough to keep you guessing. Then came the phone thing. Oh my god. We were hanging out at her place, watching some stupid horror movie, and she suddenly paused it, grabbed my phone off the table, and went, let's see who you talk to. I laughed. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She went through everything. Messages, photos, even old chats from months ago. I told her to chill, then tried to grab it back, and she pulled away and snapped, why are you getting so defensive? Like I was the problem. And of course, she didn't find anything because there was nothing to find, but she still got mad. Started bringing up some random names, random girls I've barely even remembered. And then it came, who's Sarah? And I told her it's like a girl from last year. Why? She answered, why is she still in your phone then? And I didn't even know what to say. It felt like I was being interrogated for crimes I didn't commit. And after that, things escalated fast. She started showing up places I didn't even tell her about. Like, I'd say I was home, and then she'd text, you're not home. I'd be like, yeah, I am. Then she'd send me a picture of my house from outside. I wish I was kidding. Another time, I was at a friend's place, didn't tell her because I knew she'd freak out, and suddenly I get a message, nice house. I look outside, and there she is, just standing across the street, watching. I went out to talk to her, try to keep it calm, asking how she even found me, and she just shrugged it off and said, oh, I pay attention. And that's when it stopped being crazy but kinda hot and started being straight up terrifying. But somehow I still didn't leave, and I wish I could like time travel back in time to just fucking sucker punch myself in the fucking face. I kept telling myself it calmed down, that just she needed some reassurance or whatever, and that if I was a better boyfriend, she wouldn't act like this. Yeah, started blaming myself, by the way. Dumbest idea ever. Because then came the night. And that night, everything snapped. It was like 11 p.m. I was in bed, half asleep, when my phone started blowing up again. Calls, messages, non-stop. I ignored it at first. Big mistake, by the way. A minute later, I hear something outside. Not loud, just a noise like gravel outside crunching. I look at my window and my heart just drops. Linda standing there in the dark just staring at me. I grab my hoodie, go outside and whisper, yell like, "What the hell are you doing?" She walks up slow, by the way, way too calm for someone who just showed up uninvited at night, and she said, "Oh, well, you didn't answer." And I told her, like, "Hey, I was half asleep." And she's like, "Yeah, that's not an excuse." I just stand there like, what the actual fuck is happening? Then she steps closer. Closer than normal. Way too close. And that's when I noticed something in her hand. I couldn't see it properly at first. It was kind of hidden behind her leg. But the way she was holding it tight, like it mattered. And I asked her, like, "What the fuck do you have?" She tilts her head, smiles, and goes, "Nothing unless you're lying to me." And I just stood there staring at her hand, trying to figure out if I even wanted to know, you know? I asked, "Linda, what the hell are you holding?" She didn't answer right away, just kept smiling like this was some kind of a joke only she understood. Then slowly she brought it out from behind her leg. It was a knife. Not a huge one, not like some movie bayonet shit, but big enough to make my chest tighten instantly. And she like almost started laughing like, "Relax, it's not for you unless you're lying." And my brain just froze. Like I knew I should run or yell or do literally anything, but I couldn't move. It didn't even feel real. So me trying to keep my voice steady, I said to her like, "Linda, you need to go home." And then she stepped even closer and she said, "You've been acting like weird, you know? Distant. You think I don't notice that?" And I look at her and I'm like, "Listen, I've been busy with school and everything." And she interrupts me and she goes, "Don't lie to me." She snapped it so fast, it made me fucking flinch. And there it goes, that switch again, from calm to intense in half a second. I'm not lying. You're literally outside my house with a knife. That's not normal. She went quiet, like dead quiet. Then she looked down at the knife, like she'd almost forgotten she was holding it, and for a second I thought maybe she'd snap out of it. But instead, she just laughed. Soft at first, and then louder. And then she starts blaming me. "See? You make me look crazy." And that sentence hit me weird, like genuinely, she believed it. And I told her, like, "I didn't make you do anything. You just fucking showed up here." And she started yelling, "You ignore me." And I told her I was asleep. And she says, "Oh, you're always asleep when I need you." And there was no winning. Every answer just made it worse. She started pacing in front of me, running her hand through her hair, and still holding the knife like it was nothing. And she kept on repeating, like, "I do everything for you, everything. You can't even answer your phone for me." And I told her, "I didn't ask you to do everything." Bad choice, by the way. She froze, slowly turned to me, and asked me, "What did you just say?" And I felt it immediately. That shift. The air just got heavier, colder, and then stepped closer to me and said, "Say that again." And I said it quieter this time because I was shitting bricks. "I didn't ask you to do all that stuff." But her face changed. Not angry, worse. It it she looked like she got hurt, but like twisted hurt. So she kept on saying, "You don't appreciate me, you don't appreciate me." And I said to her like, "I do, Linda, but this is just way too much." And she started shaking her head, backing up a step, then another, and she just said, "Wow, so I'm too much now." I didn't even know how to respond anymore. Everything I said just got flipped. Then she looked up at me again, eyes kind of glossy but still intense, and she said, "You know what's funny? I knew this would happen." And I asked her, like, "Knew what?" And she goes, "That you turn out like everyone else. They all leave. They all say I'm too much right before they leave." And I stayed quiet because, yeah, I was thinking about leaving right then. And I think she saw it. her expression just dropped. Not angry, not sad, just empty. And that honestly was scarier than anything else. And then she asked me, "Are you going to leave too?" And I didn't answer fast enough. And that was it. Something in her just broke, which I kind of felt bad in the moment until she started laughing again. But it sounded wrong this time. Like there was no actual humor in it. And then she said, "Of course you are. Why wouldn't you?" And then she looked down at the knife again, and before I could react, she started to cut herself across her own arm. Not like deep, but enough to make me shout like, "What the hell are you doing?" She didn't even flinch. She just looked at me and she said, "Oh, this is what you do to me." And my stomach dropped. I was like, "Oh, no, please don't kill yourself now, please." She kept going like she couldn't hear me. Like, "You make me feel like this. Like I'm nothing unless you're like there." And I stepped forward, tried to grab her wrist, but she pulled back and she yelled back, "Don't touch me." And her arm was already like starting to be bloody and scratched, and my brain was just screaming that this was way, way bigger than me. I like try to calm her down. I said like, "Hey, Linda, like this isn't okay. We need to call someone." And she yelled back, like while backing away, "No, you don't get to act like you care now." And then I told her like I do care, and then she tells me, "Then don't leave me." And there it was, that line. Like everything came down to the one thing. I stood there, my heart racing, trying to figure out what the hell to do. Because saying yes felt like trapping myself, but saying no, I didn't even want to think about what she'd do. And I started my sentence, "Linda, please," but I couldn't finish because suddenly a light flicked on behind me, and my dad's voice from inside, "What the hell is going on out there?" And Linda's head snapped toward the house. Panic. Real panic for the first fucking time ever. And she just whispered to me, like, don't say anything. And the front door started opening, and Linda just looked at me one last time, not angry, not crazy, just desperate. Then she turned and ran straight into the darkness. Gone. Just like that. I didn't sleep that night or the next. She didn't text for 2 days, which would have been a relief. But honestly, that silence was way worse because I knew one thing for sure. Linda wasn't done yet. And guys, that's the end of the first part. Now, the second part will be coming out soon, so I hope you guys are ready for the next part. Please mentally prepare yourself. I have to do some stuff, but I promise the wait will be worth it. Now, guys, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay yellow.